I'll link this to you guys. If you want to add more D&D horror stories, you can, or you can write in the chat, however you want to do it. But I asked about like 2 days ago, hey, what are your D&D stories that you have? And I had a few responses. So we got at Wakeful 3282. They say, I don't play D&D, but my friend does, and he was in a Discord server with a bunch of the worst kind of anime fans. The kind of people to put anime figures in a jar. So I'm not too familiar with people putting anime figures in a jar, but that does sound pretty horrible. The only reason he kept playing was because the dungeon master, who was a part of the server, not part of the group though, that did some top tier fuckery, and one of the dudes who played with him who was actually funny, just from memory. Okay. So this is like the setup. I did read these a little earlier, but yeah, that makes sense, right? You're going to be in a group with somebody who does really good, right? They're a good DM and the Night Master around. That makes it more engaging, fun game. And then there's a funny guy. So that works. Okay. So he says, I recall being told about one player with a particular bad tendency to hit any female character in the weirdest ways received a blessing that made him so attractive to any female he tried to hit on would just die of a heart attack. That's really hilarious. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that reminds me of Steven here. Part of the channel here. He just likes to mess around, and that's like a perfect way to get to like, stop the shenanigans as a DM and be like, you know what? That thing you really like to do, let's just make the opposite. When you do it, something bad happens to that other person. So I think almost that's a good job on the DM. But I want to know how you guys feel as players. Definitely let me know. So each one of the little dashes is one from Wakeful. So let's come back to Wakeful, and I know he has a couple of them, but let's go with Josh Striker 19. Says, one of my players started the first session off by killing the rest of his party and tried sealing their souls into bread. So I wrote back to him like, hey, that's really fun. That's really silly, right? Like, let's go ahead and trap their souls into like bread, like the most random thing in the world. But I asked him to like, hey, can you tell me more? Like what happened, this and that? And he replied back. So he was saying that effectively, what happened was I decided to write a one shot in which all the players had amnesia and couldn't remember who they were, but they were greeted by a quest giver to tell them how to regain the memories. The player, a good alignment player, instantly responded to the quest by deciding, I don't know any of you people, and started attacking all of them. Every other player attacked him in response, and for 3 minutes rolled nothing above a 13 on a fighter with a 15 AC. So that really sucks, right? Like the luck, right? That this other person, and he wrote here too, I forgot to mention it was a larger group. 9 people failed to roll higher than an AC of 15. He killed all the spellcasters first, so magic missile and stuff were out of the question, right? So this player of his was pretty smart in killing all the spellcasters in the group, but it is super realistic. Not realistic, ridiculous is what I wanted to say. Super ridiculous that a group of 9, so maybe it was 8 versus 1, so 8 people at least couldn't hit this one character that was supposed to be good alignment, and he just went crazy. I would say this counts as a horror story for sure. Like this is something that you're gonna remember for a long time. Where it's like what were the odds of that? Like if that was like a casino, like you just won $1 million. You know what I mean? Like the odds of winning something like that. It was the odds of this terrible story for Josh Striker 19. So I should have asked him what he did as a dungeon master, but maybe if he sees this, he can reply back and let us know what he did there. Okay. So going back to Wakeful 3282. So again, he has multiple stories. So here's the next one we're going to read. So this one says, the normal dude from the group did everything he could to not die at the beginning. It was one of those rebirth campaigns where a normal dude dies and gets thrown into a fantasy world, and went for 30 minutes before the other party members got mad. So it took me a second to really understand what was happening when he mentioned this, but essentially whenever you get a character introduced, or like it sucks that you're waiting around. It happens a lot when you're being introduced into the group, maybe like for a whole game session. I heard even 3 game sessions your character's not even introduced because they're finishing something up, right? Like that sucks. And in this situation, so I mean compared to that, 30 minutes is not horrible, right? But it still sucks. Like okay, I want to play the game, guys. You just imagine you and your friends ready to take the next step, but one member of your group decides to like hog the spotlight for like 30 minutes straight, trying to figure out, what they're trying to, get some items at the store or whatever, role play, all that. So it just takes a while. 100% sucky. And let me know which one's your favorite so far. Let's keep going here and let's make this closer. So let's go to a retail cashier for 50. Okay. So this is, their horror story. So it says, my DM allowed us a homebrew weapon. We had just finished the campaign as relatively lower level characters, and we agreed to start a new campaign as the same characters from same universe. Okay. Everything but the biggest change was that we were gonna give the characters more power with the more generous leveling system. Okay. So far, pretty normal, right? A lot of times people use the same characters for a new campaign. My character got what I called an ethereal poisoner. A staff. Okay, so it was a staff that projected high intensity neutron radiation. And the DM didn't make the connection between what I was describing when explaining the weapon and the nuclear physics. Yeah, I don't think I would have either. So my artificer ended up using it to make plutonium, and by the time anyone realized that arachnophobia, including Bone Demon from earlier in the first campaign, became the center of a rather sizable crater. So, and he says, and that's the story of how my friend group essentially got a nuclear physics 101 course from playing D&D. I think you did him a favor, and you also gave us a nuclear physics 101 course. Like, at the end of the day, man, a retail cashier 450, I think you failed to work with your DM exactly what you meant, and I think that would have been what you wanted from that weapon, and it would have been better. But it is what it is. I wrote to him, thanks for sharing, I will make sure to share. He said that would be amazing, and then he adds here, I know there was something else, and let me make that bigger. So, forgot to mention, leading up to the initial test, my artificer had been investing in and making contracts to fund cartographers' exploration to make new maps. My artificer was then able to make money not only off every sale of the red drawn maps, but was able to use the cleric, who character wasn't aware of the scheme, to teach and encourage the use of medicine that from companies my artificer had some stock in. So this sounds like you're the problem, bro. Oh man. To avoid situations like these, easiest thing to do is just make sure you're communicating with your DM or with your players, right? Maybe you're a DM and you want to do something really cool that you know more about because you're freaking smart, right? That you're explaining, hey, this is how this stuff works, and I just want to make sure that you and me are on the same page, right? If you're not, then it's not going to work out at all. So I'm sure that they were very surprised and unexpectedly of the situation. Maybe they took it well. You let me know at retail cashier right back. Let me know if they took it well or not. But other than that, you're just causing trouble, just making a good old cleric, spread the word, and you're taking advantage of it, bro. Oh my goodness. Cool. So that's really funny there. Wakeful 303282 has a few more. So we'll do 2 here and then go back down and read the last 2 from, I think it was King Beast at the end. So here's the next one. So dude with gun. So character with a gun, a reoccurring character who was also transported into the fantasy world, but with a gun and possibly the ability to teleport. The DM used this mostly to get rid of the weird summons the players made, because apparently one of the players had a particular liking to succubi. So yeah, first of all, it's to me this makes sense, right? If you're a player in a campaign and you're just messing around the whole time, and maybe that's just the way you play, so totally fine, but there are limits to every single DM, and this sounds like, based on what you said earlier, this is a DM who is experienced, so they're yeah, go ahead and do what you want, because, it's a little more fun that way, just more open world. A lot of times those DM are gonna mess with you every single time because they're okay, do you bring this? Then I'm gonna do this for every single time we do something ridiculous. And that's where the dude with gun came in. So maybe it's not a horror story. It might feel like a horror story to you, but it's really just that DM mechanic to kind of, let's bring the world back in. Next one here that we have, and is my friend developed a strategy that we still both use in real life today, and that he dubbed casual charisma. Basically, if your speech stat wasn't high enough for something you just do, like asking nicely. It only worked for my friend and made everyone else very mad. So I tried to get clarification on this. Let me know if you understood that the first time, but I didn't quite. So I asked him like, hey, you know, all of these are great. The only one I wasn't clear on was the dub casual charisma. Can you clarify that for me? I didn't quite understand it. And then this was what he meant. I don't know about any specific situations. The general idea I got was that if he didn't have the charisma for a certain thing, he could effectively just ask nicely, and the DM would sometimes just count it. So like, that's super funny, you know. Just like you know, just imagine like the dragon hits you and you're out, you are dead, and you're like, oh man, come on, please, can you just say that he missed? Is that cool? Okay, man, you got it. I think you know what I mean. I think maybe thinking table level, but maybe it was in game level. So like, maybe literally asking the king for the castle, the keys to the castle. King, can I please have the keys to your kingdom? Okay, sure. You know what I mean? So that's really funny. I think that's just super hilarious. Remembering now, I don't think King Beast got back to me with the story. He's like, I don't have one. I was like, don't worry, just share one in a video. He's like, awesome, thank you. And King Beast 947. Wait, I gotta say this right. King Beast 9497. You owe me a story. Okay. All right. So, and then I think we're going to get to our last one here, from our stories that we have. And guys, let me know if you're enjoying these, and I'm definitely having a fun time here reading these with you. The last one here, it says, so the dude who had the blessing of attraction. Okay. So that was the dude over here that kept hitting on girls, attempted to try necromancy to continue being a weirdo. His response to the DM's warning that necromancy is very illegal and immoral was, I'm the hero, I'll be fine, before getting stomped by a dwarven blacksmith. Undead were also immune to his persuasion effects, and he had a terrible charisma stat. I have some older messages I might dig up, or those are my favorites that I remember. Awesome. Hey, thank you very much here, Wakeful. Those were plenty of stories, and they were all really great. Yeah, and I think that DM, right, he was really experienced, probably been playing for years, adjusted really well to the player. The guy, especially that dude, right? It seems like he was more of a nightmare player than there was like more of a, I don't think it was really the DM nightmare in any way. It was more of a player causing shenanigans. Well, sometimes it's funny at the table, but if it's totally out of line, if it's interrupting the course of the game, then it's just like enough is enough sometimes, you know.